Greetings, I'm John the Spirit. I need nickel ore, but it's really far away, and welcome to modded Factorio Supershorts. That's why I decided to mildly cheat by installing the Sun Resources mod, which will allow me to erase a resource patch and restore it somewhere else. All I have to do now is decide where to put it. I don't really know, maybe like, down here by this zinc, sure. That way it's close to where all of my ore processing is going to be, which is right in this area. Looks like all I need to do is craft it to put it in my inventory, and then I can circle around a resource patch and remove it. Wait. And now I'm going to try and put it over here. I don't know if it's working. Turns out it totally did work. I now have nickel right here. It's just that the map hadn't updated yet. Hurrah! Oh, it seems like the colors are reversed. How odd. Well, anyway, to mine nickel I need syngas. So I am considering making a centralized syngas production system. Syngas and acetylene would probably be the two main resources that I'd try and get out of it. I'm going to keep some of this system here, but I think, for example, I'm actually going to drop this destructive distillation column and just stick to the syngas from this destructive distillation column. Well, okay, I'm a little bit torn. No, yeah, so I'm not going to make syngas from these gasifiers at all. The syngas that powers this entire system is going to come from my centralized syngas producer down on the right, or like maybe below here in the center. So the purpose of this DDC is simply going to be to just make a bunch of coal gas and tar, coal gas for aluminium, and tar for this destructive distillation column producing carbon dioxide and aromatics. Our syngas and acetylene system, which involves one full belt of raw coal, starts with 6 destructive distillation columns. 3 destructive distillation columns will handle the input of raw coal and output normal coal and iron oxide. Iron oxide gets separated out right here, and then coal gets brought down using a splitter to be inserted using Bob's adjustable inserters for extra speed directly into this destructive distillation column, while the rest of the coal will come down here. And of course, iron oxide will get dumped into this belt. All the coke will be dumped using 2 more curved inserters, while the output priority for that coke is on the bottom so that it can be used for acetylene. The acetylene system will probably just be this friend again. But I might dump the carbon dioxide, or at least, I'll be close enough to my system down here to route the carbon dioxide directly into the place it's supposed to go, so maybe that's what I'll do instead. It's just these damn rock paddocks in the way. I'd have to do some spaghetti with carbon dioxide. Maybe I'll just throw it out. Anyway, I also need to deal with the ash, but I'll deal with it later. These 3 friendly gasifiers will dispose of all of our tar and turn it directly into coal gas, which can produce more syngas, which is something we'll be making soon. In order to fully use the coal gas output of the system, I need a whole 19 gasifiers making syngas, but that seems silly. Honestly, I'll just slap more gasifiers on this system whenever I need them. But I do have 10 in my inventory right now. The question that remains to me is how to arrange what may end up being like 20 gasifiers, because I don't want to waste so much space when I could not waste space. Here's our little acetylene system, where coke, as usual, creates calcium carbide and lime. We have extra carbon dioxide getting vented. I just need to hook up water, which I also need to hook up to like some other stuff that's coming up. This inconveniently tall line of 10 gasifiers can be replicated to fit just on the right here. So I'm chalking this up as a win. Sort of a win. I mean, God. Eventually the system can replicate just like this. The wiring here is going to be really tight. Mostly a lot of underground belts. Alright, I've managed it with the grand help of Bob's adjustable inserters. I'm going to shove all the ash from this system into this solid separator, and then just shove everything that comes out of it into a storehouse, I guess, for now. With some lovely pipe spaghetti, I've hooked all the syngas and tar together in their long ways up to, the general tar system up here. I just need to bring the syngas wherever it needs to go now. Syngas in the main area is now hooked up to the system. It just needs to be powered. Coal is flowing in, and now the destructive distillation columns are working. Hurrah, the whole system is now powered and doing its thing, except that syngas is clogged up because we don't need all of this syngas. One mild problem is that acetylene relies on the system running, which I didn't think about. So there may come a point where I disconnect the gasifiers expressly for the purpose of forcing coke back into the acetylene system, but that is currently not a necessity, considering how much titanium we have. Speaking of, I need to hook the acetylene up to this titanium system soonish, because I am going to shove a bunch of titanium into my intermetallics, which is the thing I'm supposed to work with once I'm done with antimony. In fact, I think it's about time we research antimony. Hurrah! An interesting factoid is that we now have precisely or just about as many PyScience packs as we have automation science packs, which means we don't technically have enough automation science packs. We need double the amount, and I'm only making it half that. But once I'm finished with improved iron and copper, I think I will change my automation science system yet again. Anyway, now that this Syngas system has become obsolete, I can destroy these gasifiers. One mild problem presented by the removal of Syngas is that ash is no longer going to my burner assembling machine like it should. However, that is easily corrected by the use of a chute on this chest that got meticulously filled with ash from the excess ash from the system. Lovely. In total, this has had the effect of greatly reducing the congestion in this area of my base. I'm quite happy. Now you may be asking, Jonathan, what are you going to do with all this enormous amount of Syngas? We needed to mine both borax and nickel, and also to power a bunch of smelters, which will help us to make intermetallics eventually. The mining of antimony, incidentally, also requires that we supply fuel canisters, which are a plastic canister filled with some kind of liquid fuel or gas, and we might as well just fill it with Syngas, because we have all of it now. With antimony processing finished, I can create my antimony drills, which are surprisingly easy. With 3 antimony drills, I'll be able to supply what I need for my tentative intermetallic system, and I think, it's fine for now anyway. Oh no, the one problem is how enormous these things are and how tiny my little antimony field is. With the help of some shenanigans and moving things around, I have created enough space for these antimony drills to do their thing. Now with the help of a, thankfully, very tiny barreling machine, I can set up a simple loop system, where empty fuel canisters will be grabbed from the antimony drills, whitelist on empty fuel canisters, and put onto this belt, and non-empty fuel canisters will be put back into the antimony drill, and then those empty fuel canisters will be placed in this barreling machine to be filled. I'm pretty sure this is how it works. It doesn't let me put the empty fuel canister anywhere else. Now I am bringing Syngas all the way up here to the barreling machine, which seems not to be doing it. Okay, there we go. That was rather spectacular. Upon application of the fuel canisters, we begin to see antimony ore dump onto this transport belt. Hurrah, huzzah. Now it remains to us to decide where to do this ore processing. Should I try and stick some in this otherwise very congested part of my base, or should I drag it all the way down here where I have tons and tons of space? I am thinking drag it all the way down here where I have tons and tons of space. Thankfully, I do not need too many machines to run the antimony-specific chain, although it is a complicated but fun one where things loop around a bunch. This is a common part of ore processing change in Pyanodon's mods. I'm using slightly less than 3.1 automated screeners because these ratios are just pretend, because intermetallics are complicated, and look how many aluminium ore mining drills I need in order to make it actually work. But I will improve that as soon as I have intermetallics, please gods. Just for good measure, I have immediately started researching intermetallics so I can get down to aluminum processing in short order. It shouldn't be too long to get there. Anyway, YAFC tells us that we should crush antimony ore in automated screeners into antimony grade 1 and antimony grade 2. Antimony grade 2 can be turned into antimony grade 3 and antimony grade 4. Antimony grade 1 can be made into more antimony grade 2, and then finally antimony grade 3 can be made into more antimony grade 4, which we'll all plug into some basic oxygen furnaces to make antimony oxide, which is what we will actually need. Oh, it needs plastic? Wow. Good thing I'm making plastic. This is really going to be a mess of a factory, because where plastic is made is too far away. Too far. Point is, we need that stuff for vitrolloy and iron, nexyl, and antimony, a special alloy, which, incidentally, right now does not require nexylite. Wait, I'm distracted, though. We need to focus on antimony. 2 inserters should do the trick of inserting only as much antimony ore as we need, but I'm still going to pretend there's a surplus and make sure that we exhaust all of the antimony grade 1 and antimony grade 2 before we start making them willy-nilly. We don't want anything to clog up, after all. The amount coming out of these screeners is more than 2 inserters can handle, so I have 2 chutes and a splitter pulling out the stone and iron oxide, which, I'll be honest, I don't know what to do with just yet, so I'm just gonna shove them out of the way for something later. There was a borax patch here, but I moved it using the erase resource patch and restore resource patch to put them down here. Sorry about the cheating. The antimony grade 1 is going to pop out of the splitter system and get turned into antimony grade 2 to join the antimony grade 2 already coming out of these automated screeners. We'll output priority stone on this splitter to join the stone on this one. Merge the antimony grade 2. Intermetallics is done, by the way, which means we can research casting 2. All of the antimony grade 3 from these automated screeners is going to pop into a secondary crusher, making antimony grade 4. Finally, with the help of 2 oxygen furnaces, which will need to be fueled by some kind of solid fuel, and in fact quite a lot of it for some terrible reason, I'm tempted to use the coke from this system, only that it'll be hell routing it over to the basic oxygen furnace. These 2 oxygen furnaces alone will use more coal than I will save by turning all of these burner mining drills into electric mining drills. Oops! Nonetheless, I fully intend to perform the switch right now. Having now a slight surplus of coal on this line, I intend to put an output priority on the splitter and route the coal down to these oxygen furnaces. It is truly a tragedy that I will never receive an oxygen furnace that does not take solid fuel. I will simply have to supply some kind of absurd solid fuel to these sort of things for the rest of my life. I also have to supply plastic to this system. This being, in the language of my people, a difficult ask, considering that my plastic is all the way up here, and even if I wanted to move the plastic creator down here, I would have to bring the aromatics down in another mess of pipes. I will just take half the plastic bars and put them over there. May the gods have mercy on my soul. I'll shovel the plastic into a chest and pull it out into the oxygen furnaces. Coal appears to be having a hard time moving its way onto this transport belt. What a pity! Where on earth is it all going? I thought this wasn't using the coal constantly, but I guess it just is. This is disturbing. A solution presents itself to us in the form of the lead coal belt with an output priority on a splitter. Note that this will provide 7.5 coal per second, whereas I need just over 8.75 per second. So a convenient trick to pull is to have the excess from this system go onto the right side of this belt and hopefully be the excess that we need to supply these basic oxygen furnaces. Please. Sorry, I realize I may have sorely miscalculated, being an idiot. I don't need 7.5 coal per second. I need like 8.75 megawatts, which is very different from 8.75 coal per second. In fact, it's only about 2.16 coal per second, so maybe I don't need to do this. I'm just gonna cut this off for now and hope that it's not a problem. With the help of an electrolyzer, I will fuel the oxygen into these 2 basic oxygen furnaces, and finally, I will get out my antimony oxide. A small buffer of an iron chest will win us the day. Alright, now everything is going to run. Very exciting. Stone is being filtered out, antimony grade 1 is heading over here to make some antimony grade 2. Antimony grade 2 appears to be doing its thing and making antimony grade 3 and antimony grade 4. And finally, antimony grade 4 is doing its thing and giving us antimony oxide. How exciting. I do need to figure out what to do with all this gravel and stone. I have a plan for the gravel and stone that involves a tasty little friend called landfill. However, my calculations indicate that I will produce less stone than gravel, so I still need to get rid of the gravel. I can do so in saline water washers, which will pump into sinkholes. The problem is that if I'm already going to do that, why would I bother turning the gravel into landfill in the first place? Probably because the gravel takes forever to turn into saline water. I'm also tempted to do absolutely nothing for the reason that stone and gravel are also created by other types of ore processing. The answer is clear to me, a storehouse, so I can just end this episode. Thankfully, it does not even have that much health, so if I need to destroy absolutely everything in it on a whim, I can do that with a gun. Oh, I did forget to gas fund hydrogen. Eventually I'll need tons of this, but I am just going to ignore that need right now. In other news, I appear to have forgotten the immense amount of ash that I need to be shoving into these storehouses. Well, that is now corrected. The ash is going to occur in a much greater quantity, which is very annoying to me. I could put it into an ash separator. Fine, you've got me. That's exactly what I'm going to do. Alright, that temporarily solves the problem by punting it off to a later date. Very exciting. Hopefully, once all of my many ore processing systems are done, I can centralize all of the distribution of these items. But will that happen soon? I don't know. In the next episode, we'll make nickel mining and hopefully combine all of our metals into intermetallics so we can start aluminium processing and better iron processing. Please. For now, however, that's it for today's episode. As always, if you have any feedback, I'd love to hear it. I hope you enjoyed.